You're listening to an Anderson Entertainment production.
This episode,
it's a countdown in Fab Facts.
We've got a tiger on our tails in the Randomiser.
and Gary Martin ties it all together in part 3 of 3
Oh, that's all coming up in pod 175
of the Gerry Anderson podcast.
Let's get started. Let's go.
Spectrum is green.
The Gerry Anderson podcast with Jamie Anderson and Richard James.
Well, hello. I can even say hello. But still,
Hello.
Oh dear. Hello, I'm Jamie Anderson.
Oh, hello.
And I often say hello, but properly.
You do, yes.
And I'm joined here.
It has been known.
I'm joined here by...
Hello, I'm Richard James, and I do say hello properly every week about this time.
You showed me up there, didn't you? And over there in the corner, quietly performing interesting manoeuvres, which I think are semaphore. I don't know what he's practicing for, but he's obviously feeling a bit naval. It's Chris Dale.
He's certainly gazing at his navel.
It's impressive that he's doing both. So Chris is doing the Randomiser later on because he is the Randomeister.
True.
And he'll join us at the end of this podcast when he's finished doing his semaphore. I don't know who he's sending messages to, but we'll find out later, I'm sure.
Yeah. I thought of that.
What else have we got in this podcast in which I can't even say the word hello?
Well, thankfully you won't have to say it again, will you, for the duration of this podcast at least? So we're over that hurdle.
In a surprised exclamation. Hello.
Hello. Well, we've got our lovely Podsterons, of course, who've been emailing us in at podcast@gerryanderson.com. They've been posting on our Facebook group, so we'll be popping over there as well. Yes, to facebook.com/groups/Podsterons, where if you're listening to this, you can join in as well simply by joining the group. We'll be heading on over to Twitter, where they've been hagging us.
Yes, your turn.
Here we go. Gerry Anderson podcast. And also on YouTube, where they've been commenting on past podcasts and Fab Facts, etc. But above and beyond all that, of course, we've got the Gerry Anderson Newsy News. We've got part 3 of your interview, Jamie, with the wonderful Gary Martin. How interesting was part 2? I loved that. So I'm particularly looking forward to this third and, I think, final part.
It is the final part for Gary, yes.
Interview. Yep. And we've got, of course, Fab Facts coming up any moment now.
Oh, I cannot wait. It's a plethora of all things Anderson.
True.
Hopefully I'll manage to put my teeth in before Fab Facts.
Yes. Now, before we go any further, Jamie.
Yes.
Firstly, let's skip over the fact that I'm actually recording this in my pyjamas and dressing gown.
Oh, are you?
And let's move straight on to the fact that yesterday I met an actual real-life Podsteron in the wild.
No way.
Yeah, they are out there.
How, why, and where?
Well, I went to see a show at the theatre last night.
Oh, yes.
At the Pinter Theatre, the Harold Pinter Theatre in London. And as I went to the door to head on up to the balcony where the cheap seats are, I heard a voice from the chap who was behind his mask checking my tickets. I enjoy the podcast, he said. Hello. I said, well,
amazing.
Sorry? He said, yeah, Gerry Anderson podcast. In fact, you read out an email from me. So that was Tony, who's a listener. So hello, Tony.
Amazing. Thanks, Tony. And, that's great.
Yeah. Nice to meet you last night, and hope you're still listening, even now.
You didn't manage to put him off in that instant.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, isn't that nice?
Well, hopefully, as the world opens up more and more, we will meet more and more Podsterons in the flesh.
Exactly.
And hopefully, lots of them at the Gerry Anderson concert next year.
Yes, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Anyway, more of that probably later on.
Yeah, of course.
I love the fact that you've met one in the wild. Let's hope for many more of those. But while we wait, how about I fill the void with a Fab Fact?
Fill the aching chasm of loneliness with a Fab Fact.
Okay, here we go.
Now, time for this week's Fab Facts.
Here to fill the aching chasm of loneliness, was it? Was that what you said? Anyway.
I think it was about that, yes.
It's Fab Facts, where I bring a joyous Fab Fact to you every week from our book of Fab Facts, which I'm going to slap right now. It's good,
That's
isn't
a weighty tome.
It is.
Yeah.
I flick through, Richard shouts fab at a random point, at which point I stop flicking and I read you the fab fact from that page. So, Richard James,
Yeah.
are you ready with your fab?
Born ready.
I'm ready with the facts, so here comes the flick.
Fab!
Ooh, you had
Hey, I
that
know.
last-minute acceleration there,
Yes.
just before your fab. Well, this is very exciting because this is a countdown fab fact.
Okay, great. 5.
I don't know.
Oh.
More than 5.
All right.
Wait.
7.
You'll have to wait and see. So,
Okay.
Richard James, I'm sure many a time you've wondered which Anderson actor made the most on-camera appearances in any Anderson show.
Oh, I have wondered that, yes.
I bet it's kept you up many a night.
It has.
Well, this fab fact is going to talk you through a top 10 list to find out who that actor was.
Oh, great.
But I think we need some rules up front. So before
Okay,
we start,
okay. Yeah.
let's be clear that this is only actors who have physically appeared on camera in live action in an Anderson show or film. So we are
right.
not including voice roles in the puppet shows.
Okay,
So
okay,
because
yeah.
otherwise it would be David Graham, wouldn't it? He would.
Oh, it probably would, yes.
Yes. For every show and all that sort of stuff. So no, David actually doesn't appear on this list. But
yeah.
there is a nice spread of names here from across the live action Anderverse. And Richard, are you feeling confident that your show might be one of them? Or even your name, perhaps?
No, not really.
Well, let's find out, starting at number
on, then.
10.
Whoa.
In 10th place, it's a
Yeah.
6-way tie. It'll get less
Okay.
complicated as we go on, I promise.
Oh, good.
This 6-way tie is between UFO's Dolores Mantes, Space 1999's Clifton Jones and Anton Phillips, and Space
Yeah.
Precinct's Mary Woodvine,
Uh-huh.
David Quilter,
Oh, yeah.
and Richard James.
Oh.
How's that?
Well, I'm impressed.
So all of those, including
I'm in good
your
company.
your fine
Yeah.
self, Richard, clocked up 23 appearances in their respective shows.
Yes.
Now, some might argue that being masked and having their voices redubbed
What?
might disqualify those Space Precinct actors from the list.
Rubbish.
But we say nuts to that. They absolutely count. So, Richard James, congratulations on making it to 10th place.
Yes,
It's just a
thank
shame that you missed out one episode of Space Precinct, because
That's
otherwise
true.
you would have made it to
Yes.
9th.
Body and Soul wasn't in it.
Ah,
That's
what
true.
a shame. So, in 9th
well, I'm happy with
place...
10th.
It will
Yeah,
get
great.
good, because that's
Yeah.
your only appearance in this list, I'm afraid. In 9th place, with no Richard James in sight, it's a 5-way tie. This time
Right.
between Space 1999's Barry Morse and Space
Okay.
Precinct's Ted Shackelford, Rob Youngblood, Simone Bendix, and Jerome Willis.
Yeah, okay, so that'll be the 24 episodes, won't it?
Correct, 24
yes.
appearances
Because they did
each.
it. Right. Yeah. Right.
There's another battle going on for 8th place, this time between Prentice Hancock and Catherine Schell, who both made 25 appearances. Prentice Hancock appeared in all bar one of the first season of Space 1999, but he made up for that by guest starring in the Protectors two-parter, WAM, or WHAM. While Catherine Schell did the whole second season of Space 1999 and one episode of the first season.
Okay, yeah.
So there you go.
Good.
In at number 7 is someone you might expect to have ranked a bit higher, considering how closely associated they were with the worlds of Anderson.
Yeah.
It's Ed Bishop.
Ed Bishop at number 7.
I know, because he was in all 26 episodes of UFO,
Yes.
plus Doppelganger,
Yes.
plus an episode of The Protectors.
Okay. Yeah, so
Where he
28.
played that really troubled general, probably one of the
Yeah.
best performances in The Protectors, I would say.
Yeah,
We're not up against much there. So that's 28 appearances in total for Ed.
Right.
In 6th place, with 35 appearances, so quite the leap, it's
Yes.
Xenia Merton from Space
Right.
1999,
Yes,
being in
both
season 1 and
series.
2. Exactly.
Yeah.
Then,
Interesting.
in a similar vein, in 5th place, it's Nick Tate.
Aha.
Because Nick was in 43 episodes of Space 1999, plus The Day After Tomorrow / Into
yes.
Infinity, that special.
Yeah, that's it.
So there's Nick. 4th
Good.
place, it's Mr. Martin Landau. with 47 episodes of Space 1999. But because he didn't appear in the episode Dorzak, he just missed out on sharing the third place slot, where it's another tie. So in third place,
it's
Space
got to be
1999's Barbara Bain.
Barbara Bain, yeah.
And, could you guess the second person?
Oh, crikey. So a similar amount of episodes.
And
so
live
48
action.
episodes or more live action. Is it something from The Protectors again?
Yes.
Oh, gosh. No, go on.
Okay, it's The Protectors' Nairi Dawn Porter.
Ah!
So both Barbara and Nairi Dawn Porter appeared in 48 episodes of their respective shows.
Yeah.
In second place, it's Robert Vaughn for 50 out of 52 episodes of The Protectors.
Yeah.
Now you're probably seeing a pattern developing here. Space 1999 and The Protectors regulars are all ranking rather high. So which actor was a regular on both of those shows? Well, in the number one spot, it's Tony Anholt.
Tony!
I know you wouldn't expect necessarily, but he appeared in 42 episodes of The Protectors and 23 episodes of Space 1999, giving him a grand total of 65 appearances.
Amazing.
So, posthumous congratulations to Tony Anholt for making the most appearances in the live-action Anderson universe.
Fantastic. That's great. Well done. I did enjoy that one. I love a countdown.
Who doesn't love a countdown? It's very Anderson-y, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
But yeah, it's funny how you'd sort of think, okay, well, live action, it's going to be the leads from the longest-running shows.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's not, because they didn't always appear in all of them. So.
But of course, in terms of you and I, Jamie, we're well ahead of the game because we are the only two people. Oh, and Chris, of course, the only three people to have appeared in 175 episodes of the Gerry Anderson podcast.
Exactly. So if live action sound counts, then actually, sorry, Tony, we've knocked you off the top spot with 175.
Yeah. We win.
Well, now we've settled that, I think that's a great place to leave it. But
absolutely.
There you go. What an excellent top 10 list. I hope you enjoyed it. That brings us to the end of this week's
Countdown Fact!
I couldn't think of anything, so you win that one.
I win that one. I'm ahead of the game. Now, you're listening to the Gerry Anderson podcast. Don't forget, you can subscribe to us on whichever platform you're listening to us on, and that means that you get a notification every week as soon as every new episode appears, and you might be among the first to hear it. And just like last week, get a little bit ahead of the news as well.
Oh, yes.
I think there was a little bit of information that popped out at 9 o'clock, I think, last Monday.
Yes. You
production.
If you listen to the podcast on 174, you heard about the documentary 3 hours before anybody else. So congratulations.
That's right. Yeah, and don't forget, while you're on that platform, you just hit the ratings of the reviews, likes, love it, fantastic button, whatever it is, to let us know how much you're enjoying the show. And leave us a review and a rating, and copy the link into all your socials, and maybe your friends will listen too. And maybe I'll bump into them at the theatre. Yeah, that'd be weird. Or maybe I'll bump into them at the corner shop or the local pub. Yeah, gosh, that's interesting. Now, who has the most local Podsteron, do you think? Oh, have you mean Chris? Is there anyone near you? Yeah. I mean, without giving away our precise GPS coordinates, it's tough to know, isn't it? But it is. Yeah. I mean, I'm in the valleys of South Wales. I'm sort of in probably a greater home counties. Sort of population. Yeah, and Chris is sort of Canterbury way, isn't he? So yeah. Do let us know if you think you're close. Don't try and track us down or anything. That'd be a bit weird. But exactly. We'd love to know if you are around. Yeah. Now, we know you're certainly around because you email us in at podcast@gerryanderson.com. And here are a few examples. Ed Dutra has got in touch to say, hello, Jamie, Richard and Chris. Just a quick note to express how much I enjoyed Pod 172. The interview with Lindsay and Justin Lee was terrific. Their obvious enthusiasm and love for the work they do is really inspiring. And it's a shame the interview ended after only 4 pods. Only. Another plus was the return of Space 1999 Series 2 to the Randomiser with the Seance Spectre, one of my favourite episodes. Back when I was a teen in 1975 watching Series 1, I had always felt the show needed to address how the Alphan populace would handle the leadership structure over time. Unfortunately, it took until Series 2 to get there, but I had high hopes when I read the local newspaper's plot synopsis for this episode's premiere. While it ultimately didn't dive as deeply into the issues as I would have liked, the episode was still very entertaining, with what I feel was the best meld of action and music in Series 2, especially when Koenig's downed eagle broke free of Tora in a literal and musical explosion. Listening to this episode depicting the effects of isolation on individuals and communities strikes a much deeper chord today, September 2021, when he wrote this, than when I first saw it all those years ago, particularly in the light of what we've been experiencing the past 18 months in the world. But there's still so much entertainment value in the Seance Spectre and Chris's commentary that I couldn't help but smile listening to its Randomiser outing. Keep up the great work. And that's from Ed.
Ah, thanks, Ed.
Yeah.
Wise words indeed.
It's funny. Absolutely. That things that episodes that we think we know are brought into sharper relief, aren't they, in the context of, as Ed says, they're the last 18 months. And that's a fantastic example.
Changes the lens a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. From Mike. Hi, Jamie and Richard. What an absolutely fantastic interview with Justin and Lindsay Lee. Do they fancy a pint? Haha. Probably, Mike, yeah. I could listen to them for hours. I must say, as a Kickstarter contributor to Thunderbirds 1965, the show went beyond my greatest imagination. What they gave us as a community was a truly superb rework, utterly flawless in design and execution, and the only thing since the original that can be considered as proper Thunderbirds.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I would agree with that. Magnificent job. Finally, for now, this is from David J. Barry, who says, Hi, Jamie, Richard and Chris. Picture the scene. It's Wednesday, 7th of October. I have a few days break from work in London, and I'm spending them with my better half at Sundials, our home in the Republic of Ireland.
Nice.
It's 09:28, and I'm hovering close to the keyboard, waiting for 10 a.m. to order my VIP tickets for Stand By for Action.
Nice.
When the electric goes off.
No!
This is far from a rare event for us. When it comes to mains power, living in Ireland can feel like living in a third world country. Should I fire up the generator? Should I risk trying to book over the mobile network? Iffy at the best of times. 10 a.m. comes and I'm out in the rain trying to get a consistent mobile signal. I get as far as selecting front row circle seats when something goes wrong.
Oh, no.
And all I have is a blank white screen.
No.
Then, as if by magic, mains power is back and I'm back in the dry with tickets booked.
Hooray.
Thank you to the heroes at ESB Networks for coming to the rescue, your FAB. On the day of the concert, it will be just 4 days until my retirement, after which I will be living in the Republic full time. So excellent timing, Jamie. Kind regards to you all, David J. Barry. P.S. Looking forward to Doppelganger on the Randomiser.
Oh, yeah. I suppose that'll come up at some point, won't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's great, David. I'm glad you managed to get your tickets. Lots of you have managed to get your tickets so far, which is great.
Yes.
I know it's a long way out. And with the world as it is, there's a little bit of uncertainty. But I do hope we'll see lots of you at the concert.
Yeah. It's just...
Yeah.
It's nice to have
special
something...
stuff.
Yeah. Something positive on the horizon, isn't it? That's I think, the overwhelming sense.
And there'll be a
I'm
great way
seeing.
for all the Podsterons to get together as well.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. So there we are. I've got a few more a little later on, along with some tweets and some Facebook posts, etc., as usual.
Amazing. I look forward to seeing all of those things, or hearing them, in fact. I can't see them.
Yeah. No, just as well in my dressing gown.
In my mind is where I'll see them. Not that, though. Oh, dear. Okay. I think it's time we went on to the Gerry Anderson news, don't you?
Oh, news.
Yeah, here we go. Yes, it is the Gerry Anderson...
Newsy news. Yeah,
Yep,
it is.
Correct. Which is always a source of great joy, isn't it?
Yes.
Isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Good.
Yeah, come on then.
Okay, fine. The Thunderbirds calendar is go for pre-orders.
Yes.
We launched that last week, and it's glorious. 12 amazing new pictures from the incredibly talented and very lovely Chris Thompson, with new stories written by a bunch of the guys, sort of giving you the background to each image. It's rather marvellous, and I think you're going to love it. So do please pre-order it if you can from the Gerry Anderson store, shop.gerryanderson.com. It'll be delivered to you mid to late November, or possibly very early December if you are overseas.
Yep.
But it'll be with you fairly soon. UFO comic fans, you may have seen us talk about this upcoming anthology release of all of the countdown comics from the 1970s. Well, highly anticipated by the comic-loving community and UFO fans. If you look in your inbox today, the day of release, hopefully, if you are a UFO fan, and we measure that by if you bought something UFO from the store before, you should have a survey in your inbox. Just a couple of questions to make sure that we are doing the best possible job on this upcoming release. It's pretty marvellous. I've seen the proofs of it. It's a stunning collection, and so nice to see all of those strips collected in one volume. I should add it as the first of 2 volumes, the second volume coming out next year. It's been a real labour of love from the team behind it, so do answer those questions if you get the survey and let us know what you think. If you're a Space 1999 fan, then finally, the Commander's Logbook is coming this week.
Right, great.
It's a notebook basically, but it's to feel as if it would belong on the desk of Commander Koenig, essentially.
Oh, fantastic.
So you can feel like Koenig yourself. It's got a kind of very 70s brown sort of leatherette debossed cover, Moonbase Alpha logo on all the pages, and it's just a
your Koenig top.
Yeah, exactly.
With your badges.
Exactly. You see,
brilliant.
It's kind of just a nice thing to have. I've got mine here, and actually very soon, I think probably next week, we've got the International Rescue version coming out for International Rescue Field Agents.
Nice.
If you're feeling celebratory, or both.
Yeah, the latter, I think, yes.
Yes. I don't know why. It's this funny thing where I can't say hello or celebratory. Fireball XL5's 59th anniversary is on the 29th of October. In fact, the 28th of October. I can't say dates either today. And the Blu-ray, the special edition Blu-ray from Network should, I think, be out by then, so you should be able to enjoy that in HD for the anniversary. It will be available very shortly from the Gerry Anderson store. We're giving Network their pre-order window, and then you'll be able to get it from us directly. But it's a glorious set, really, really lovely, and some fantastic extras on there, including a 21 minutes of adventure. Actually, it's 28 minutes of adventure.
Is it?
Yes, starring Mark Silk as Steve Zodiac, Genevieve Gaunt as Dr. Venus, Nick Briggs as Matt Matic, and me as Robert the Robot.
Of course.
And it's great fun. It's really great fun. I hope you'll enjoy it. And there should be an extra feature on that CD as well, with a bit of making, a little bit of discussion from us. There's Chris Thompson's amazing Robert the Robot animation on there. Robots in Distress, which is fantastic. You're going to love it. It's a brilliant set, so do grab it. And whether you grab it from Network or from us, you're going to enjoy it regardless.
Yeah, lovely.
Before I forget, Big Finish have announced Earthbound, which is the third volume of Space 1999, second volume. Mm-hmm. Rather glorious cover on there, obviously treading some new ground and some old ground. Obviously, having read the scripts and stuff, I think you're going to be pleasantly and unpleasantly surprised. Ooh, it's really interesting.
Controversy.
No, it's a really brilliant set. Again, Nick and the team have done an amazing job. It's going to be marvellous. So you can pre-order that from Big Finish now. Now there is no special edition of this version. There's no special edition of this volume. We offered a Volume 1 special edition, and I think Space 1999 audio fans voted with their feet and their wallets that was not what they wanted, which is absolutely fair enough. So we're not doing it for this one.
No, okay.
So just you can get it from Big Finish or again from the Gerry Anderson store in due course.
Great.
And finally, I'm afraid that the very naughty Zelda from Terrorhawks has been doing her worst. She's been at it again.
What's she done now?
Well, I don't think she was very happy with her likeness in the mask that we offered for Halloween. And unfortunately, she has somehow manipulated things here on Earth so that logistics and shipping and air freight have become a complete nightmare. Sadly, between the time that we planned and ordered these masks and now air freight costs have increased by 1,000%. So we cannot get the masks over by air and for them to be viable. So they will be going by sea, which is equally problematic right now, but actually means that we can still make them affordable at the customer end. So if you've ordered yours and you were desperate to have it for Halloween, then please email support@gerryanderson.com and Tim and Louise will arrange a refund for you. If you're happy to wait, sit tight. It'll be with you as soon as we can get it. I don't have a date, but I suspect it's going to be early in the new year, realistically, with the way the world is right now.
Gosh.
We are doing our utmost to work our way around that kind of thing and not rely on very distant manufacturing and all that kind of thing, but it's just new ground, really. It's a strange new world. But we are working on manufacturing as much as we can in the UK or very nearby in the European Union. So fingers crossed we won't have too many more of those. But I'm very sorry if you did order one and are disappointed by the lack of presence of Zelda for Halloween.
Gosh, I mean, it's a common story, isn't it? I'm sure everyone who's listening to the news here in the UK will understand, and probably around the world, actually, that this is happening everywhere.
It is happening everywhere, yes. I know, and I saw an article from The Entertainer, the toy store today, saying basically there are going to be shortages at Christmas because all this stuff is happening. It's just maybe you haven't been on the receiving end of it, or the not receiving end of it yet. So yes, but we'll keep doing our best, and we'll keep you informed. If there are any pre-orders you've got outstanding, then we do our best to keep you updated based on the latest freight updates. All very boring. Don't want to hear about too much logistics stuff, but we will keep you informed. There you go. But there's other great stuff going on. The calendar, obviously the documentary. I'm going to be shooting this week, actually, a big block of interviews. So Ben, the director, and I may do some Instagram lives or something similar. So look out for behind the scenes of that.
Is it nice to be able to talk about it now that it's out in the open? You can actually let us in on a few more details.
I'm so practiced at not speaking about it. I sometimes forget that I now can speak about it.
That's right.
Because there's so much in this documentary that you won't have heard before. You know, you may think, it's well trodden. We've all heard those stories before. No, you haven't heard these stories. And you'll see Anderson Productions in a new light, hearing the stories that we're going to tell in this documentary. And of course, next year, 16th of April, 2022, Stand By for Action. It's the Gerry Anderson concert, Gerry Anderson in concert. We do hope you'll join us there. Tickets are selling pretty quickly, actually.
They are, I noticed,
bearing in mind how far away it is. So we don't want you to miss out. I'm not going to hurry you. And I know some people won't want to make a decision until, a month or two before. But just, forewarned is forearmed. We'd love to see you there. It's going to be amazing. And we've got some great casting announcements to talk about soon. Yeah.
Oh,
anyway, more on that in due course. But for now, I need a glug of coffee. That is the end of this week's Gerry Anderson News.
That was the news. That was the news.
Oh, perfect timing for me to have a glug. Thank you very much.
Long enough for you, was it?
Yes, big glug.
Good.
Thanks.
Now, talking about Stand By for Action, hi Jamie, Richard and Chris. I'm delighted to say that I've got my ticket for Stand By for Action booked as soon as they were available. I'd love to meet up with fellow Podsterons before the show, but no longer being on Facebook or Twitter, I fear I'd not get to hear of any arrangements. I know it's 6 months away, but I'd be grateful if you could have a think about how any meetup might be publicised to those of us not in the Facebook group. If they'd have us, that is. Many thanks. Best wishes, Phil Steer.
The Phil Steer podcast.
Of course, Phil. We'll let you know. Yes, nearer the time, I'll keep an eye on the Facebook group and I'll mention it here on the podcast where people might be meeting. It'd be great to get as many of us together as possible, whether you're in the group on Facebook or not. Doesn't matter. If you're listening, you're a Podsteron, and we'd love you to all get together and join us for a drink or two. That would be lovely, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Well, Richard, I think we should probably do a live podcast recording, to be honest.
Great idea.
We are talking to potential venues for that.
Great.
Might be on the Friday or the Saturday. Probably not the Sunday. I imagine we might go out for a couple of beers afterwards. After the concert, I mean. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, good.
Yeah. So
nice.
Yeah, Podsterons, pencil in 15th or 16th of April 2022 in Birmingham, and hopefully we'll do a live podcast recording and a little get together afterwards.
Brilliant. And finally, on the email front, Ian got in touch to say, hi, Richard and Jamie. I've finally received my 5*5 CD, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Yes. He says, well done to all involved in the production, especially to Richard for the writing. Well, thank you very much, Ian. A quick question. The cover art for the box, was it based on any existing artwork, or is it all original?
It's all original by Marcus Stamps, our very brilliant designer. One of our very brilliant designers, I should say. Yeah. He had the story and the outline and the synopsis and a list of characters and stuff, so some of it's based on that. But no, it's all original.
Yeah, and lovely stuff it is too. Ian also says, I'm also enjoying Secret Service. I'm 62 and seeing it for the first time. I just love the quality of production. I know it's a strange concept, but I just love it. And I think Jamie is completely wrong about Joe 90. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to agree to disagree there.
Yeah, Ian says you have to see it from a 9-year-old's perspective. I was 9 at the time it first aired. Who wouldn't want to be an astronaut or a fighter pilot at that age? That was the target audience. Keep up the great work. Regards from Ian.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? You see, I was probably 8 or 9 when I first saw Joe 90. And even then, I was like, oh, no. But I was watching Doctor Who, and I was thinking, I want to travel with this old man, essentially, who can show me the universe. So, I was looking elsewhere rather than being the hero. Maybe that's how it works. Maybe it's about opportunities to be the hero or not.
Be the hero or be with the hero. Maybe that's the difference.
Yeah, very interesting.
Are you a doctor or are you a companion?
Oh,
that's the thing, isn't it? That's for a whole other podcast. That's not even our remit, is it?
No,
So we can't
somebody,
really
somebody else on Doctor Who
much time.
podcast talk about that.
Yeah, that's right. That's all for now, but do get in touch, podcast@gerryanderson.com, and I'll read out your emails next time, but a little later on we'll be heading over to our Facebook group to read out some posts there.
Hurrah! Now,
Yeah.
Richard James,
Yes?
I think we need a little break from you and I chatting and go to
be nice.
me and somebody else chatting.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Sorry, Podsterons, but you've got more of me. But if you've listened to the first two parts of the interview with Gary Martin, you will probably have fallen in love with his glorious, silky, bassy voice.
Oh, yes.
And you'll know that he loves to tell a story. He's a great storyteller, and he's got even more for us in part 3 of the chat we had. So, without further messing around, here's Gary Martin, part 3 of 3. So you did a few ads and bits and pieces, and obviously kept in touch, because then when it came round to making the CGI test for New Captain Scarlet, Dad obviously got back in touch. Was that an auditioning thing, or was that based off the fact that you'd done the Scarlet toys?
Maybe because I based the Scarlet toys. When I look back at it, I haven't seen it for a little while now, and my performance of Captain Black was too young. My voice for it, I don't know why I had the capabilities of making it, but maybe I was a bit awe-inspired with Ed Bishop and Francis Matthews. I don't know, being the originals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, so I was happy with the voice of the Mysterons at the beginning, but I think I should have aged him up a little bit more, and this should have been a side to him that you weren't too sure about. And that came down to my fault for that, really. But it was a good CGI. And I
was very impressive at the time, and it looks lovely.
Very. Oh, yes. I mean, there was the whole car crash and the graveyard at the beginning with the voice of the Mysteron. I remember going along with Gerry, and he said, come along, and we saw it somewhere in Wardour Street in a preview theatre. And
it was NPC probably.
Yes, it probably would have been there, and we watched it 2 or 3 times with some clients, and they all seemed very happy with it. But the story, it went to go on. I did actually do a test for that, and that was a strange one. I auditioned, I think, at Pinewood. It could have been Elstree, but the director at the time got me to do the voice of the Mysterons to a mic which was about 8 feet away from me, like an ADR mic.
Yeah,
and it's just difficult to get the bass voice. This is the voice of the Mysterons. We know you could. It was, and maybe that's why I didn't get the part. I don't know, but I'm glad he did do another series. Did that series do well? The New Captain Scarlet?
Didn't do as well as they'd hoped. Had all sorts of distribution problems. It got broken up on a Saturday morning kids show called Ministry of Mayhem. Shown in the wrong order. Titles chopped off, and Dad was really extremely unhappy about how that was dealt with. But it's we managed to track down the HD masters, and it is out on Blu-ray, and it is out on Amazon Prime and all that now. So it's getting the recognition, or more of the recognition it's there. But we put a free episode on YouTube a couple of weeks ago for Captain Scarlet Day, and so many people there saying, "How did I never hear about this?"
Yes.
And it just shows how poorly distributed and marketed it was.
What a shame.
By TV. So.
What a shame. CGI was great from what I saw of it.
Fantastic. I mean, it stands up relatively well now compared to a lot of stuff that was coming out at the time. So, yeah. But I'm glad there's no Mysteronized sour grapes there, Gary, because it must always be a bit of a thing when you've been working with somebody for a long time, not to then get a part for something.
Totally. But you as you get older, nothing's owed. It's not owed. It's you're right for it. You're not right for it. It's it was a pleasure working with Gerry on the occasions that I did. I even remember coming along to, I think there was a meet and greet with the Thunderbirds guys, and your dad asked me to come along and talk to some of the fans, and I met David Graham, wasn't it?
Yes.
And obviously Shane was there, and I think somebody else was there, and I remember speaking to your dad saying, "Look, I hope you don't mind. I shouldn't possibly be on the stage. I shouldn't be going on the stage with you, because these are going to be wanting the real voice, not the people who impersonated it." And I think he thought about it. He said, "Yeah, probably, Gary, you're probably right. I think I still got paid for the day, but I didn't. They needed the real, Scott Tracy, and they needed the real Virgil, and the real, and David Graham. Wow, what is he now? 91.
96.
96.
He's just turned 96.
What amazing! And he was in the original Fireball XL5 and Four was the one before
for the Fools,
Four
yeah.
for the Fools. I've only worked with him a couple of times before, but he turns up and he's still got the energy to do it. Peppa
He's
Pig,
got the
I think
sparkle.
he's in that as well, and something else. It's
Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom, he does all that stuff still.
It keeps him, I think, it's the good reason for not working behind a desk. He keeps his head is alive with new things to do, and he's a lesson to us all.
He really is, yeah.
Fabulous.
That generation of actors are really inspiring, actually. Him and Denise Breyer and co, just amazing.
Yes.
So since that era, Gary, you've done lots of stuff. You've done a couple of gigs for me for various things.
Mm-hmm.
You've done some, excuse my dog's barking in the background. You've done some Big Finish stuff. Obviously, you carry on doing your movie voices. What are you up to currently that you're allowed to talk about, or stuff that you can hint about?
I can hint about, Warhammer seemed to like me for some of their characters, and I can mention this character because he's been in a few of them. He's going to be in a new one soon called Grimgore. I have been working on a film, started a few months ago, in fact. It's called Tad the Explorer. It's very Disney-esque. It is made by a Spanish animation company, but it's recorded in English first, then dubbed in Spanish. It's going to be it's the third in this Tad the Explorer series, and if you get a chance, anybody gets a chance to look at it or look at the old ones on YouTube, the animation is tremendous. Quite a lot of games. Games seem to be the flavour.
Yeah,
and I'm going to do one next week. Lots of promos, lots of trailers. Ads. I'm doing a couple of ads for, what have I got now? High Five, which is for Copperberg, and something else for Lego. Now, Lego is huge.
Yeah.
And Lego Mythica. So I'm doing that. So, and this is all in my little box at home. I do go into town. I think since March of last year, I've been in 9 times. So technology has kind of grabbed me by the scruff of the neck and shook me a little bit. And so my son, thank goodness, he's put everything in here so I can work pretty much anywhere. I used to use ISDN, but now that's all gone. It's now Source Connect.
Don't need it.
Session Link Pro. So I'm doing most of my work from home. Yes, you miss the camaraderie a little bit.
Totally.
But it is what it is, and I'm glad to be working. If I'd been in a West End show when all this terrible situation happened, I'd been in a lot of trouble. No furloughing for them. Some of them have had to. I've got a friend who had to go with Deliveroo. Somebody had get a van and work for some delivery company. It's been hard. So I am grateful to be working, and I just hope I carry on. It's kind of I don't really look at it as a job quite so much these days.
Yeah, well, hopefully most of it is quite fun.
Most of it. You get the occasional one, but they're few and far between. Yeah. And you can pick which ones you want to do something. You look at something, you think, nah, it's a corporate. I don't fancy that.
And yet you still said yes to doing the podcast, Gary, so I'm obviously grateful for that.
It's okay.
Gary, if people want to find out what you're up to or follow you online, are there any... Are you on social media? Do you do Twitter or anything like that? Or
I
don't
do. I tried to cut a lot of that down. I used to do a bit of Facebook, and I thought, I've given that one a miss for a while. But I'm on Instagram, on Gary Martin Vox. I've got my website, which is garymartin.co.uk, and there's a trailer version on that. There's actually something which, if you get a chance to listen to, Jamie, it's on the About page, and I think you probably need to listen to it. It starts off talking about slow-mo, and it's a quiz game. And and they all start talking about Gerry Anderson. So that's on my website. And everybody knows we've got IMDBs and stuff. Yeah. And I'm just going to carry on doing it. I will put updates as I do them on Instagram, and hopefully get into a series maybe next year. I'm doing a preschool series. I'd like to do maybe more of an action series. That would be fun. I did do something. Was Big Finish involved with? I played librarian in Prisoner
Zero.
Prisoner Zero. That's right. Yeah. Did you see that?
I've seen it. Yeah.
You've seen it?
It's on Netflix, I think, isn't it?
It's on Netflix. Yes, it was on. Is it still on? Okay, that's good.
It certainly was. Yeah.
Did you? It's very anime.
Yeah, it is extremely anime. Yeah. So no, funnily enough, I know the commissioner now, who I'm doing some other bits and pieces with, hopefully. So yeah, it's a small world, and you can't escape it.
You can't. No. And we connected up with Australia, and I played the librarian. I played him. I played him a little bit like this. I stole it from John Gielgud from Arthur.
Lovely.
I suppose you wanted me to wash your dick, you little shit. And I did. I'm dying. Yes. So a story. I will have to tell you this story. Maybe it'll make you laugh. Maybe it won't. One thing I've learnt is if you're going to do a voice, sometimes don't mention who you're imitating. Otherwise, it could get into trouble. Because many years ago, I did this thing called Bob and Kika, and they said it's going to be National Geographic, it's going to be big. Big man, little girl, travelling the world on a train, on a plane, and he's a bit slow. She has all the ideas. He asks a question, and she tells him. And I was thinking, what voice can I come up with? National big bloke and a little girl. It feels a bit odd. So I said, I'll tell you what, and you're going to work this out. I said, I'm going to do it. Brian Blessed, yes. Oh, Kika, no, really. Oh, ha, ha, yes. And they, Gary, you're brilliant. You've got it. And then I heard nothing. And I think you can guess this. I went along to do a film with Rick Mayall and something like that. And I said, whatever happened with that job? And she said, oh, you were great. I didn't get it. So, we gave it to Brian Blessed. So 52 episodes, I missed out. So the thing is not to mention it. I don't know. It's strange when I do adverts now. I can mention characters I'm going to impersonate. Or say, should we do it a bit like this? And everybody's so young nowadays. They go, who's that? You're kidding me? Who's that? Oh God! I remember talking about Kenny Everett about 15 years ago. I did a lot of work with Kenny Everett. And I remember going down to the BBC and going down to the depths of the old BBC, the Dome one. And this is about 20 years ago. And I said to this young lady who was taking me into the studio, I said, oh my God, I said, this studio over here, I did a whole series of Kenny Everett there. And she looked at me and thought, you don't know who Kenny Everett is? I said, it's okay. This was 20 years ago. And then I went into the studio, and the studio engineer was there, and I think I was doing something for a rerun of A Low, A Low or something. And so I said, that was embarrassing. I was just speaking to the young lady coming out there, and I mentioned Kenny Everett, and I said, well, I'd worked with him, and I suddenly looked in their eyes, and they didn't know who he was either.
I'm amazed by that.
And this is the BBC 20 years ago. And then he says, oh, yes, I think I do remember him. How can people forget this man? I don't know. It's such a shame. But you do have that moment of feeling old. It's if you'd say, I'm going to do George Sanders, who you probably, he did the original voice of Shere Khan in Jungle Book. So now I would say, I'll do a Jeremy Irons. Rather than because it's going back a bit too far.
You've got to update your references, Gary.
I will. When you're doing stuff for things like Sony or horror, or they've got an old film and they're showing it, and you're going, "That's Robert Mitchum. That's Kirk Douglas." I don't think they know who they are, and that's an age thing, isn't it? Really, but I sometimes think that the audience would like to know that Kirk Douglas was in it, or Robert Mitchum was in it, or Edward G. Robinson was in it. But you do, as you said, I can see you in your eyes now. You're looking at me thinking, he's so much older than I thought he was. Who are they?
You don't look it, Gary.
Yeah, through a fireman's blanket. I don't. I suppose these are things that you just learnt as a child, and they stick with you, and you remember, and you play homage to them. It's fabulous time. You remember all these names because you do homework on these things.
I know. Well, I was going to say, for our audience, you say Shane Rimmer or David Graham or Ed Bishop or Martin Landau or any of these names, and they mean something, but the wider audience maybe not. But that's why we do things like this, is to reach a new audience, keep people excited and involved, and
they can look them up,
get them to watch. Yeah, exactly.
You can
go, who's this Gary Martin bloke? Oh, he was slow-mo. Oh, amazing. I love Space Precinct. There you go.
Hours of fun. Well, not hours of fun. A few minutes of fun now. And then looking at IMDb and going, I wonder what he's doing now. And then you go off on a track of, he worked with him. He did this. She did this.
It's dangerous.
Whoa, it's amazing. It's amazing. So hopefully listeners will be doing that this afternoon.
Exactly. Go off and play on IMDb and see what connections you can find from Gary out to Kenny Everett. It shouldn't take too many steps. Gary, it's been brilliant chatting. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure I waffled on a bit and I can... but that's what you do when you're stuck at home in your own studio.
That is the point of a podcast.
You're a good man. Jamie, it's been a pleasure. And I hope everybody out there, I wish them well. And I hope you like the podcast.
Sure they will. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Oh, lovely, Gary.
Well,
what a nice chat.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, well done you for finding all these people, Jamie. It's amazing.
It's not me. Kudos to Ben Page, producer Ben Page, who brings all these things together. Thanks, Ben. But no, Gary's great. If you want to find out more about Gary, go to garymartin.co.uk, or you can find him on various social media platforms at Gary Martin Vox. That's VOX.
Now, Gary confirmed something for me in last week's interview, part 2. I always thought slow-mo was a bit Dustin Hoffman.
Yes.
And there it was.
He said that's the origin.
That Dustin, was absolutely an inspiration for the voice, yeah. So, interesting.
Amazing, well observed.
Yeah. Now, if you're on Facebook, do head on over to facebook.com/groups/Podsterons. Yes. Join in the fun with our lovely Podsteron community. They have quizzes and they have episode reviews and watches together, and they post up their art and their cosplay and their toys and their merch and their little competitions and questions as well. For example, John Wood asked, okay, tough one, what did SPA stand for in Space Police? I sense it was the equivalent of FAB and SIG, to which Tom Hodden, of course, responds, Space Police Attending? Shane's Pretty Awesome, which I quite like, or Something Podly 8, which is also quite nice. And here's a rude one, so I'll have to be very careful here.
Ooh.
And you might want to put a beep here. Stop effing around. You may or may not want to include that one. But yes, I remember it being Space Police Affirmative, but I don't think that's ever mentioned anywhere in any of the scripts.
Yeah, Space Police Affirmative was definitely the origin of it. I'm more than happy to confirm that.
Yeah, well, there we are. Now, Steve Andy Rogers has been continuing his polls. For example, if Anderson Entertainment only had one option, which of these would you like to see made? And he offered various options. The top 2 turned out to be a Captain Scarlet live-action remake and a new Stingray CGI remake.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, isn't it? I can see both of those. Obviously, we've spoken about Captain Scarlet live-action before and people's dream casting and so on.
Yeah.
But a new CGI Stingray.
Very interesting.
That'd be brilliant.
I would have thought that space or UFO would have featured more highly.
Yeah, there we go. I think it may have been Supermarination.
Supermarination.
Yeah.
That would explain it then.
That's it. Mark Perkins says, I just noticed how the IAC Space Observatory in the Forbidden Planet isn't that far removed from Thunderbird 5, and he posted a picture, and he's quite right too. Emma Nichols says, I've just seen that the horror channel number 70 on Freeview here in the UK is going to show UFO on the 20th of October.
Hooray!
Yeah. Hannah says, this Zelda mask looks fantastic. Unfortunately, this, of course, follows on from the news earlier about the delays to the mask. But she says, I think what we need next is a SRAM mask.
Oh, that's even more niche.
Yeah, she says, but it'd be great if it could open its mouth and actually roar. I've seen that happen with a Star Wars Chewbacca mask. When you move the mouth, and the mask makes a roaring sound.
Yes. That's it. That might be beyond our remit, but you never know. Never say never.
Yeah. Just a couple more. Rob Doyle says, well, I'm on day 5 of my COVID isolation. Still feels like a bad head cold, and I've lost my sense of smell. Well, poor you, Rob. Hope you're feeling better soon.
Yeah.
I have, on the plus side, he says, caught up on some reading and going through the Gerry Anderson series pilots. The next one up is Thunderbirds Trapped in the Sky. I watched the Region 1 Shout Factory Blu-ray, and wow, it looks amazing in HD. So much detail and in the right ratio. I never noticed the masks at the bottom of the hood spinning statue. At first I thought they were decapitated heads. He says, Stingray has always been my favourite Supermarination show, and I always thought there wasn't much of a step up in production between the shows. I was wrong. The level of detail is extraordinary. The sets, clothing and the vehicles make you feel like you're in a fully fleshed out world. The extra runtime really benefits the story and gives some proper time for character development and time to ramp up the action, which is exciting and fun. The whole concept of international rescue is just so well realised. It's a 9 out of 10 show and 10 out of 10 for the Blu-ray transfer. I just hope the Stingray Blu-ray looks as good when we finally get it.
Yeah, well, Fingers crossed.
That is interesting, isn't it? We tend to think of those Super Mario Nation shows, obviously they were from the same stable and from a sort of certain period of time, but they do change and develop from series to series, don't they? And obviously improve.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge amount of evolution and technical progression. But, I think, obviously it's a huge team effort and lots of people bringing together their amazing skills, so it's not to pin it on one person. Sure. But I do think, Dad should get a lot of credit for forcing that technical innovation and wanting things to be better and better between each show. It was very much his way, and it really shows on screen. Yeah, I mean, you compare Supercar to Thunderbirds.
It's
and amazing. You'd never know that only half a decade separates them.
Yeah, that's extraordinary. And finally, Alex Pass posted, I must have missed the Tell Jamie post a couple of weeks ago, so I better throw out my own, hey Jamie, you're awesome.
Oh, I was just getting ready to brace myself for telling off then or something, but that's great. Thank you very much.
And then in brackets, he says those other fellas are pretty cool as well. So there we are. Thank you, Alex Pass, and everyone for posting on our Facebook group. Please do pop over and join in. They're a really lovely bunch of people, and it'd be great to see them all next year, hopefully.
Absolutely. Best podcast listeners on the internet, I would say.
True. Yep, fact.
Yeah, so if you're listening, that's you. Now, Chris has been, I don't know whether he's trying to flag someone down or communicate something to somebody in the distance, but he seems to have packed away his funny little flags now.
Yes. What was that all about then?
I mean, I guess we'll never know. I wish I'd learned semaphore now.
Yes.
Yeah, perhaps Chris will tell us at some point later, maybe even on Twitter, will let us know what the semaphore was all about. But now he's done. Chris, put those flags down. Yeah, okay, here he comes. He's going to come over and press the big red button on the randomizer, which will choose a random Gerry Anderson episode, and he'll say some fun and interesting things about it. So, Chris, over to you.
Okay, so I broke into Hawknest, but I swear I haven't done anything else naughty. Aside from that.
I don't buy it. I don't buy any of it.
Why do you assume everything he says is a lie?
Because that's the safe option.
What about fair play? What about justice?
What about me letting you press the button on the randomizer today, Tiger?
Well, I'll tell you. I'm ready. Just let me at it.
Oh, see, that was easily resolved. Zero, is he feeling all right?
He do look a bit pale.
Okay, Tiger, let's see what you've got us today. Ah, okay. Well, it's not a Terrorhawks episode.
Space, fire, and damnation.
But it is still a quality episode from a quality show with some quality explosions.
To match the fire in my eyes.
Well, maybe. Here's Joe 90, Attack of the Tiger. This is gonna be a good one. Hello everybody, welcome back to Joe 90 on the randomizer. And here we are opening with a WIN agent played by Captain Oka. He's keeping an eye on a seemingly, ordinary bit of jungle desertish terrain, but some rocks are sliding away. There's a sort of installation / base / lots of guns everywhere / kind of thing. For we are in the Eastern Sector, and this is an Eastern Alliance base. And there's a warhead rocket thingy being raised into position. I love this old supercar jungle music, by the way, here. I love the way this is used. I love the way this episode generally uses music from old shows.
So it is true.
Yeah, there it is. Our rocket is now in vertical position. Oh, lots of cannons being put into position all over the place. That's enough for Oka. He's getting out of there, but he's left his binoculars behind. Which is, if you're a highly trained WIN agent, the first thing you do is don't leave your stuff behind when you go near an enemy base, because enemy bases have cameras. And Captain Brown... Yep, he spotted those binoculars. We're going to close everything down for a while. Lock away all those guns. Close up that missile complex. Because the hunt is on for Captain Oka. So we're back from the opening titles, and yeah, I know it's not really Captain Oka, it's just the Captain Oka puppet, but it is hard when you see those identifiable Scarlet puppets appear in later shows not to think, oh yeah, it's that guy. And I think probably the Oka puppet was the most often reused in later shows. Certainly he would get far more prominent roles than, say, Magenta or Scarlet, Blue, White. They would get occasional guest appearances. Oka seems to be consistently one of the most reused, if not the most reused, puppet from the Captain Scarlet regulars, which is nice if you're a Captain Oka fan like me. Anyway, he's now being chased into the woods by these soldiers. This is WIN Agent Fez that the Oka puppet is playing here. It's confusing as well because there's another very similar episode around this time that also has the Oka puppet playing a WIN agent voiced by the same actor, Gary Files. But I do love the way they've realised this jungle here. I love this whole feel of the area around this Eastern Alliance complex. It's a long way from like the jungles of, say, Supercar or even into like Stingray and Thunderbirds. It just feels like there's this endless, vast, inhospitable waste of vegetation and swamp.
410. Confirm complex is complete. We'll pass detailed description later. Operation Tiger commences in 10 days. Map references IFS 104827.
Oh, there's that IFS, International Fixed System, that was mentioned a lot in Anderson shows around this time in films, Thunderbird 6 most notably.
Did you send that report to HQ?
Yes, sir. It went off this afternoon.
Good.
And here's a couple of good chaps. We know they're good chaps because they're Westerners, not like those dirty Eastern people. Very naughty.
What do you want?
Take me to the military intelligence. It's vital.
Yeah, these are border guards or checkpoint soldiers or something.
Who's in charge here?
Calm down, sir. Can I see your identification?
I must see someone in authority.
Oka has made the mistake of standing with his back to a window.
Get outside and see if you can see anything.
Sir!
Yes, sir. I'll go outside and risk getting shot, sir. Brilliant idea. Well, that's it. Oka is dead. But, well, he's got a sonic screwdriver. That's going to be relayed to WIN.
Professor, Joe, I'd like you to listen to this.
When you go to buy your tea,
look for the pack on which you see
Punjana tea, Punjana tea.
This fine blend deserves its fame,
'cause no other tea tastes just the same.
Punjana tea.
Maybe not.
Hours 410. Confirmed complex is complete. Operation Tiger commences in 10 days. Out.
What does it mean, Sam? FEZ was the code name of one of our agents working in the Far East, number 26. He was killed at the border. At that scrap of information together...
Now, this is something I like about this show's...
our worst fears.
Its use of spy motifs. It, unlike Thunderbirds with Lady Penelope, it does make being a spy seem extremely dangerous.
They intend to put a nuclear device into orbit around the Earth in 10 days' time and hold the world a ransom.
I mean, not just for things like that, but in terms of the actual like agents that you send in.
Operation Tiger.
Very few of them in this show ever come out. Sometimes some of them come out and they end up in hospital. Even Joe doesn't escape unscathed, and I really like that with this show, is that they are sending people off on basically suicide missions, almost. I mean, FEZ has been sent to the Far East, and okay, he got the information back, but he had a very hard time doing it, and ultimately died. So it was. I think it's very commendable. This show, again, we're riding on the sort of Bond mania of the time, the spy craze, but we're not going to glamorize this, and especially considering this is a kids show.
Detail a series of modifications to be carried out on the VG-104. The work must have absolute...
It's extremely realistic in a way that it probably didn't need to be, but I thoroughly appreciate that it is.
WIN will have our complete cooperation. Just one thing. If you could tell me a little more about the operation, I could decide on the pilot to be assigned to you.
That won't be necessary, General.
Mr. Louvain, The VG-104 is the most complex aircraft flying today.
Ooh.
It takes an experienced pilot a year to master it. You have to use one of our men.
Don't worry, General. WIN will supply the pilot with all the knowledge and experience required.
Even if we have to steal it from someone's brain.
Yes, Joe. He shouldn't be much longer.
Meanwhile, in our stealing people's thoughts department, Joe and Mac are waiting for this chap to leave in his car. That's from his house. And this is another Captain Scarlet regular, Dr. Fawn, who's been given a snazzy moustache for his appearance as...
Amazing what you see on the roads these days.
Fearless Foley, ex-World Air Force pilot. And I think this moustache that they've given him now stays with the puppet for the rest of his career. He's wearing this when he's Saunders in the Secret Service.
Blast, he didn't give a signal.
Well, we were going to force him off the road, Dad.
All right, Joe. We'll take a shortcut and catch him up.
Ah, that's it. Joe 90 and Professor McLean licensed to just do whatever the hell they want. Yay! This is nice. Again, this is a padding sequence in an episode that has, a couple of padding sequences, but it's nice when it's backed by this music. So having taken the wrong turn, Joe and Mac, they're just going to take the jet air car.
There he is, Dad.
Over the fields until they catch up with him.
I won't, Joe. It's a straight road with no turn-offs.
I'll aim for the tyres, Dad. Good, Joe. It's nice as well, considering that I couldn't play the opening titles because it was easier to cut them.
I thought they took the other road.
We get to hear the theme anyway, which is always nice because it makes me so happy.
What's that madman trying to do?
He's trying to overtake you before you crash off the edge of the set. There's again another one of those shots from behind of a vehicle accelerating along a road, and there's clearly no road.
Man!
At the edge of the set, at least in HD.
You're angry, Dad. Be careful.
Only to be expected, Joe. Bring the portable recorder.
Right, Dad.
So...
What are you playing at? There could have been a serious accident.
Yeah, this is quite unusual. Joe and Mac just...
Road.
My name's Professor...
They're not being placed in a position where they can naturally acquire this guy's brain pattern. So they've gone out into the world just to hunt him down and...
with the steel nerve and lightning reaction...
record him out in the open.
Handle the situation.
Dad, this gentleman isn't... He couldn't be Fearless Foley, could he?
Oh, it's the papers, these ridiculous nicknames they give people. That's not the point.
I do like this character, actually. It's a shame he's only in this one scene because...
of course, I will pay him.
He is very believable as this...
I think that...
As this guy who's a former pilot who's clearly...
Record your brain pattern.
Oh, dear.
Then I can fly a VG-104 just like you.
Clearly fed up of his own legend.
Pattern? I don't understand.
The fawn puppet actually made a nice sort of sideways glance to Joe just there.
Unbalanced.
Like, oh no, you've recognised me.
Thank you for obliging my son. He works for world intelligence. You know.
Really?
And again, that reaction, it's a perfect blend of great voice acting and a great look for a puppet. And again, I do like the look of the Dr. Fawn puppet. That's it. His brain being recorded. Being added to the list of the many brains that we have recorded without consent, but it's all in a good cause ultimately. Mostly.
Hello, Mac. Joe?
Is something wrong, Uncle Sam?
The VG-104 won't be ready till 24 hours before that enemy rocket's due to blast off.
Oh, no.
That's cutting it pretty fine, Sam.
That's worse. Intelligence reports that they've moved in ground-to-air missiles. The defenses were already formidable. It's going to be one of the most dangerous assignments you've ever undertaken, Joe.
I'll try not to let you down, Uncle Sam.
Yeah. We'll try to save the world, if possible. He's not going to make any promises. Oh, this is nice as well. Again, I like this setup of this base, as I've said before. I think that a lot of it as well takes place at night. That always does wonders for the effects in these things, makes the world seem much more believable. Joe is now being brained up. was odd. We heard the we heard the sound of the rat trap opening before it even stopped, and then we heard it again when it did open.
Well, Joe, you now have the brain patterns of the most experienced pilot of the VG-104 in the World Air Force, and that of an expert on the Eastern Alliance defense systems.
Correct, Mac.
Lucky you.
Right, let's get to that final briefing.
Shane Weston seems to have disappeared considering how important this all is. He wasn't even in his office earlier.
Missions are being carried out, Mr. Luber. Extra fuel tanks, special adapted...
A map of the world.
Firepower all round. Right down to the tiger on the nose.
Thank you, General.
Well, as soon as your pilot arrives, we can begin.
He's here already.
You mean yourself, Mr. Luber?
No, I mean Joe. This mission requires specialized knowledge and experience. No one man possesses it. Take it from me, General. Joe does.
If I didn't have a written order from the world president himself...
Ooh, world president mentioned.
I'd call the whole mission off.
But you have. So let's begin.
All right. If you will look at the map, the VG-104 will fly on a direct route to here. Although the aircraft has been fitted with extra fuel tanks, the added payload of bombs and rockets will make it necessary to refuel.
Refuel!
Method will be used, I presume?
Yes.
Again, a nice double take from that puppet there. This is the International Fix System. Yes, this is the Major Gravener puppet that we saw many times in Captain Scarlet.
As WIN have insisted on keeping the exact location of the rocket base a secret, presumably the rest of the route has been plotted by members of your staff.
It's all been taken care of.
Very well. We will use communications wave band 1524. Your code name is Tiger.
Don't giggle.
General, you have made each point quite clear.
Well, I don't pretend to even begin to understand all this, but a heavy responsibility rests on your shoulders, young man. The future of the world could well be in your hands.
I like the voice that Jeremy Wilkin is doing for that character there. Also how accepting he is of Joe's going out to save the world. Bit confused by the thing at first, but ultimately, he's on board with it. It's that, I don't know what you call that, that voice where there's sort of, we're having trouble pronouncing our R's. It kind of fits a military air-based commander. It's sort of a throwback to the old days of the Biggles-ish pilots of Thunderbirds, again with Fearless Foley's moustache there. That was quite reminiscent of that too. And that's it. There he goes.
Good luck, Joe.
Be careful, son.
Off to save the world. And those naughty Eastern people and their naughty rockets.
Tiger to base, levelled off at 50,000, on course, out.
Yeah, the use of the Tiger call sign in this episode isn't quite as funny as it is in Spectrum Strikes Back.
Here, Mac.
You're right, Sam. Let's get back to the cottage.
Yes. Sam Loover must regard this as a very cushy number. Now he's got Joe. He gets to spend so much time sat on his backside at the cottage, drinking coffee and tea, having biscuits. It's wonderful for him.
Well, he should be making the refueling rendezvous about now.
Yeah. He won't switch to the wind wave band until he crosses the enemy coast.
Yeah, here's another sequence of padding. Again, it's nicely realistic that Joe would have to have a mid-air refueling halfway there.
Tiger to tanker. I have visual contact. Coming in for rendezvous.
Understood. Out.
But there's no real sort of weight or drama to this beyond the lovely music and the lovely models. I'm afraid refueling scenes for me have been well, if you've ever seen a little movie called The Starfighters, which most of you won't have seen, yes, my thoughts on refueling scenes are very low.
Stand the waiting.
Now they've got tea.
Mac. He'll be overflying the coast any minute.
They've broken out their best china for the tea.
He's alone against the enemy.
Oh well. More tea.
Thanks, boys. Be seeing you.
Good luck, Tiger.
Oh. See, there's no snickering. This was back in the days where you could call someone Tiger and there was no snickering. Again, I think that's the last time we hear Tiger. It's not. It really isn't as bad as it ends up sounding in Spectrum Strikes Back. Some lovely under control work on the Joe puppet there, because they're tilting they're moving the plane cockpit set, and obviously Joe's being worked from below. The puppeteer is having to accommodate that movement.
I've got the picture, Sam.
He's got one hand on the controls and another on his radio. And more lovely reused Stingray music as the Eastern Alliance once again open up their secret rocket base. Lovely stuff. I think this is my, if not my absolute favourite piece of Stingray music, it's definitely up there. I love the soundtrack for The Big Gun, which is the episode this comes from. And again, just shows how versatile the music for Stingray was in particular, because it's used so often in all the later shows.
38 miles from target.
That's it, Joe is on his way.
Okay, Joe.
Just crossing over this bleak, inhospitable, Far Eastern terrain, I really like how isolated and remote and dangerous this feels. Little perimeter stations, little radar towers and such. As he gets closer. But I wonder how things are going in Marineville. Yeah, there's no disguising that music, is there?
8 miles. 7.
But it's lovely to hear it again. It's nice that they feel enough time has gone by that we could maybe reuse this as something that isn't Marineville related, but it's the Marineville battle stations, isn't it? And the commander of this base is the Captain Brown puppet, who seems to have been sort of mutilated somewhat into to having a sort of Asian appearance. But I believe there would have been several Captain Brown puppets, so it probably wasn't the original. I think we probably see the original again after this episode anyway. But now Joe is under fire.
You were right, Sam. I think I've woken them up.
Ooh. I do love as well the shots of the Joe's jet in the sky as the explosions are going off around it. And I can't quite tell what it is about these explosions, but they almost look, I don't know, they almost look like they're not on the image as such, but they definitely are. They just look slightly superimposed at times. I think it's just maybe they're happening so close to the camera that the perspective is a bit off.
Sam, they're bound to hit me sooner or later.
Listen, Joe, you've got to get that rocket. It's fueled, ready for blast-off. One direct hit should do it.
Yeah.
Okay, Sam, I'm going in again.
It sounds like a really easy mission. But the ground forces are not making it easy for him. And I believe this episode was one that was translated into, well, not translated, but adapted into one of those sort of 8mm film reels, which I suppose is... I love that Captain Brown puppet, spouting a complete nonsense. Yeah, I suppose it's a very basic Joe story in the same way that the same section of Business Holiday is. Joe goes to blow up an enemy base. That's basically all the story is. And he has succeeded. He's hit the missile. And now the base is very slowly going up in flames. There is a deleted shot here, I think, that appears... Oh, maybe it wasn't adapted to 8mm. Maybe it was on Viewmaster. But there is a shot that doesn't appear in the episode of the base commander with his hands over his head as debris is falling on top of him, which sounds suitably violent for this show. I wouldn't have minded seeing that. But regardless, Joe has saved the day, blown up the enemy base, saved the world, in fact. And it's all in a day's work.
Mission accomplished. The base is totally destroyed.
Yeah, thinking about it, I think it probably was just a Viewmaster set and not an 8mm thing.
Fine, Mac. I'll be home for breakfast.
Breakfast? It's 2 a.m. here. I'm going to bed.
Out.
Breakfast? Oh, no. You've got school in the morning, young man. Well, as Joe flies off into the sunset, that was Attack of the Tiger, and I really like that one, as obviously I really like most Joe 90 episodes. That is somewhat a very basic idea. Joe goes off to blow up another enemy base, and to be fair, we've seen that several times before. But I think what makes this work is some of the side moments, particularly the side characters. Fearless Foley, that's a nice little detour that adds a little to the story, not much, but it's a nice moment. I do especially really like, though, the Eastern Alliance base, the way they make that immediate area feel so inhospitable and so dangerous. They say this is the Far East, and it really feels about as far out as Joe would ever be sent on a mission. It feels really hostile and inhospitable and dangerous, and it doesn't make the spy thing look glamorous. It makes it look down and dirty and real. It's almost sort of bordering on something like the Sandbaggers in that sense, what we see FEZ going through. So yeah, I really like that establishing landscape of that base, and some nice action from Joe, some nice explosions. He saves the day, he saves the world, because of course he does. He's Joe 90, and he's absolutely brilliant.
Well,
who doesn't like a bit of Joe 90?
Well, because it was Joe, obviously I wandered off. And what I've discovered is that Chris was not, in fact, doing Semaphore.
Right.
I think he was doing his washing, and I think his dryer's broken. So actually, it was 2 pairs of Y-fronts, which he was waggling around to try and dry.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah. So, Chris, I'm sorry for getting that wrong. It wasn't Semaphore. No. It was pant drying.
Right. That's the first time you'll hear those words in that particular order anywhere, ever.
It's nice to be breaking new ground, isn't it?
It wasn't Semaphore. It was pants drying.
Well, now we know. Anyway, far more interesting than Joe 90, obviously, but I'm sure lots of you who do like Joe 90 enjoyed Attack of the Tiger and all that Chris had to say about it. Did you, Richard James?
Oh, yeah, of course. I do like Joe 90, actually. Yeah. It's not my favourite, but I don't mind watching a bit of Joe 90.
Okay, well, good for you. That's again, it's the art of agreeing to disagree, which is so often lost these days.
Yes,
I'm
true.
more than happy for you to completely love it, and you should be more than happy for me not to.
Right. All right. Defensive.
Yeah, a bit orcs. Richard, any other messages from our lovely listeners that you want to share?
Yeah, because I tell you what, I'm going to head on over to our YouTube channel now, where people have been posting beneath the recent Tech Talk video. This one was about the Spectrum Patrol car. This is a great new series, isn't it? Narrated by John Culshaw. Wonderful voice actor. And great stuff. Now, that's interesting. I didn't put a name there, did I? So I don't know who this is. Great stuff. I've always liked the SPC, says this unknown poster whose name I forgot to write down. Jeff's voice is very good, and I like the tie-in to Move and You're Dead. Thanks for keeping Gerry's work in our minds, although the special effects team must get a lot of the credit too. There were some great clips used throughout the briefing, and this makes me really appreciate the work that went into Super Marination. I hope that one day we'll see a new production.
Who knows?
Mark FX says, 45 years just disappeared, and I was back in my childhood with eyes pinned to the TV screen. Mr. K, is an interesting name, says, very glad to see the return of Tech Talk. Spectrum Patrol car is my favourite Century 21 road vehicle, bar none. But the other side of the coin, Sebas Webbers posted, these things aren't safe enough. They don't have enough grip, and any time you see one going remotely fast around a corner, the back kicks out. This could potentially be dangerous, and as we've seen before, the SPC isn't very safe during crashes. Also, there's a huge blind spot in the windscreen.
It's true.
All right.
It's true.
All right.
Yeah, no, safety first.
Safety first in all things. And finally, over on Twitter, John tweeted, Blue Origin booster capsule landing is so Gerry Anderson Fireball XL5 or Thunderbirds. Yeah, we haven't really spoken about the news that William Shatner went up into very near space this week on Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin capsule.
Yes, and he was quite moved by it, wasn't he? I've heard a few clips and interview bits. Amazing.
Stephen Michael Kellett says the future looks not like that imagined by Gene Roddenberry, but rather that imagined by Robert Heinlein, Ben Bova and Gerry Anderson. If you watched the Blue Origin launch and didn't see callbacks to Thunderbirds in it, then you have some cultural research to do.
It's true, and a lot of people say it. You know, there's you have to wonder. It's immeasurable, as in not so massive it can't be measured, but impossible to measure it. The influence that those shows have had in directly changing the course of how things are designed and what people feel is possible. So amazing stuff.
Yeah, extraordinary. And finally on Twitter, this is in a response to the news of the deep fake, let's call it, documentary, Gerry Anderson, An Uncharted Life. John Painter, who's obviously a Bond fan, posted, well, if they can deep fake Gerry Anderson for a new documentary, we can do it with Ian Fleming. It doesn't need much of an AI, just one that understands the 3-girl formula and the recipe for a pretty decent vodka martini. Quite like that. There you go.
Nice.
So yes, all for now. But if you're on Twitter, do hashtag us Gerry Anderson Podcast, and I'll read out your tweets next time.
Marvellous. I look forward to all those. Thank you all for writing in and commenting and stuff. And thank you to those who've rated, reviewed and subscribed. We've had a few reviews over the last couple of weeks, so I'm going to go through those in due course and pick them out, unless you've done it already. No,
No,
good.
I haven't.
That's fine. Well, I'm going to do it after this recording, and then we will we'll email the winners of some special prizes next week. So we'll let you know very soon. But for now, please do continue to write us nice reviews and say nice things, because we do really appreciate it.
We really do.
It's our main fuel for doing the podcast, in fact. So don't let us run on fumes, for goodness sake. But also, if you've got any questions or thoughts, email us podcast@gerryanderson.com. We'll be back next week with Pod 176.
Yep.
Just checking you were agreeing.
Go on.
But until then, have a lovely week, and we hope your ear is not too clammy. Goodbye.
Oh, yes, that would never do. Ta-ra!
Stage 1 complete.
Let's go.
Spectrum is green.
Clammy. We're back to the clammy ears again now.
Yeah, hashtag clammy ears, hashtag
clammy ears, sweaty thumbs.
Deep fake dad. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Terrible. Deep fake dad.
Yeah, so this week I will be doing 2 days of the deep fake filming. So
right,
in case you're interested, or
yes.
are you going to make a little joke there or something?
No, I wasn't going to make a joke. No, merely an inquiry. I'd love to know how that works.
So we have a fantastic actor standing in as Dad, Rolly Hyde.
So these will be the pictures that we've seen.
Yes,
I think,
so the
online.
pictures you've seen are Rolly. There's no deep faking in the pictures online. That's just Rolly.
Yeah.
And Rolly will sit in front of the camera and he will lip sync to audio segments that we've got and edited together and cleaned up.
Ah.
And then once that's done, that goes off to Christian, who's doing the AI work to the deep fake.
Yeah.
And then the AI will, I think it does 2 passes. In the first pass, it replaces the head, the whole head shape.
Gosh.
And in the second pass, it replaces the face. And so you end up with, a near as damn it, as Dad would say, approximation.
Yeah.
And so he'll be on camera. Now we're doing a special thing to illustrate when it's not real footage, because we're not making him say anything he never said. He said these things. We've got them on record. It's his audio.
Yeah.
But there will be a device on screen which shows when it's deepfake, so that you always know.
Yes,
because we're not trying to con anyone. We just we just want you to see and engage with the words in a different way. So it's quite exciting.
It is exciting, and I suppose the only way really that we could get this, or you could get this audio footage out in a sort of presentable manner, really. I mean, yes, you could have uploaded it and put it online somewhere or in the podcast or something, but it's not quite the same, is it?
No, it's not the same. And you can put up kind of caption on screen and do lots of cutaways and stuff, but I think when someone's telling a story which is so personal, and so many of these things that really are, goodness me, they are so touching, some so painful to hear.
Yeah.
It just adds something to have the person sort of telling it, or as closely as we can. So it's quite exciting, it's quite moving, it's going to be quite challenging to see those things start to come through.
Yeah, no, looking forward to it. I mean, I don't know whether I should tell you this, Jamie, perhaps now is the time.
Yeah.
But I've actually been deepfake since Pod 57.
Really?
Yeah.
I've
not been here at all.
Is that Charlotte there, or is it Chris Dale?
Yeah, that's Chris Dale.
Oh,
it's me, Chris Dale.
Nice.
Yeah.
Impressive.
I've been Richard James since Pod 57.
Amazing. Well, it's very convincing. But you joke, but we did speak to a company in the Ukraine that does voice cloning.
Oh no! Right.
Yeah,
okay.
that was one step too far. We were interested to see what it was, but no, one step too far. So yeah, you better watch it.
Well, who knows? It may have happened already.
Yeah.
Is that
Neither
really
of us
you?
are actually here.
No, that's weird, isn't it? I hope we've got some actual real listeners. What if they're deepfake too?
Oh no! Oh, this is a whole can of worms, rabbit hole thing. Let's
really
not.
is.
No. Okay,
Frightening.
fine. All right. Well, have a great deepfake day and enjoy your fake coffee and all that. And see you next week.
I'm just going to go and stare into the yawning chasm of loneliness. Bye for now.
Bye.
You have been listening to the Gerry Anderson Podcast. Wasn't it fun?
You have been listening to an Anderson Entertainment production.